Well, more now on the Queen and her ties with the Commonwealth. It was originally called the British Commonwealth and began to take shape in the 1930s when some of the colonies in the vast British Empire began to gain greater autonomy. Well, Queen Elizabeth became head of the Commonwealth when she took the throne in 1953. A third of her overseas visits have been to Commonwealth nations. It's a voluntary association of 56 independent countries. They work together to promote a number of common goals, such as democracy, human rights, good governance and the rule of law. Through the decolonisation of the British Empire between 1957 and 1970, over 20 former Crown colonies joined the organisation as they gained their independence. There are 2.5 billion people in the Commonwealth. That's nearly 1/3 of the world's population. Well, Javier Farje is a historian and a journalist. He joins us from London. Thank you so much for being on the programme. I guess, first of all, King Charles has waited his entire life for this moment. So what stood out for you in his first address as monarch?
Well, it was a very poignant 6-minute address where he dealt with personal as well as general issues. The death of his mother, he called her dear mama, which was an expression that was well received. His speech among critics as well as supporters has been extremely well received in the UK. Most of the front pages of the morning editions of the newspapers praised this speech. It was inevitable that he was going to refer to his mother as one of the greatest monarchs, but at the same time, he tried to underline a bit how his reign is going to be like. He is inheriting, he has to wear big shoes. Let's say that. Many people have only known Queen Elizabeth as the only queen they've ever known in their lives, which means that he has to replace her in many ways with a new approach to the monarchy. Now, they were interviewing young people, for example, today, many journalists, and the young people were saying that the monarchy is relevant for older generations, but not for younger generations. It's not as relevant for younger people than it is for old people. He has to appeal to that new generation of people. And one of the issues which he's very passionate about is climate change, which is something that many young people see as one of the most important elements in the way they have to deal with the future of this planet. So it was very poignant. It was very well received. It was really well. People saw the human side of the then Prince Charles, now King Charles. It's going to take time for people to get used to the fact that he is the king, that the era of Queen Elizabeth, the Elizabethan era is over, and he's going to have to reassess the way the monarchy is perceived among the population in this country, especially in this particular context where there's a serious economic crisis in the UK. Many people are facing fuel poverty, and he has to be a reassuring figure. And I think he did a good job. By the way, you mentioned a lot the fact that he went to shake hands of people when he arrived to Buckingham Palace. But it might be like a trivial gesture, but since it was the first occasion he had to meet people, and he did it so well, that has gone down particularly well. So between the speech and his decision to shake hands and talk to people, he has started well, I would say, excuse me, according to many analysts and many pundits who have been observing his behavior since his mother died yesterday.
Oh, King Charles, as you mentioned, has been outspoken about many issues, most notably climate change. Do you think he's going to continue to do that?
That's a very good question. As a monarch, he has to keep neutrality because the monarchy has to be politically neutral. As Prince Charles, as Prince of Wales, he's been outspoken about certain issues. Now, many analysts are trying to speculate whether he's going to keep a tight lip in relation to climate change. I doubt it. I don't think that's an issue for which he's passionate. He's been involved in protecting the environment and campaigning against climate change for many, many years. It's not something new. It's not a new fashion for him, which means that it is believed that he would probably liaise with the government, try to put pressure on the government to try to tackle climate change. It's an issue, as I said, it's close to his heart, but also that would give him a global appeal in terms of the way the developing world sees the problem of climate change. His mother was not so keen on dealing with these particular issues, he is actually keen. So it's very difficult to believe that he's going to keep a tight-lipped when we are talking about climate change, because he's extremely passionate about this as an issue which is very close to his heart.
Indeed. Thank you so much for your time and expertise. That's Javier Farje for us in London.